You know what? We humans are pretty funny. We use memes to get out of stressful situations, so let's talk about the Figma memes today. But first, Adobe Figma detected you were previously using Figma's free plan. The game has changed. Upgrade to Pro to continue using your favorite design software, and you can upgrade now or delete your account. Yeah, this is kind of like a very Adobe thing to say. Adobe Figma 2022 quit unexpectedly. Well, that's not really something that's going to happen that often because I think they're gonna keep it as a web app, so I would say that this meme is kind of meh. Oh, the classic. Adobe looking at Figma instead of looking at XD. Well, that's exactly what happened, and it is mildly funny, but at the same time, it's a little bit disappointing, isn't it? A new version of Sketch is available. New in Sketch 93, still not Adobe. Well, yeah, that's something. Oh, the classic Star Wars one. You were the chosen one, Figma. It was said that you would destroy the Adobe, not join them. Well, I kind of predicted this would happen, so I wasn't that surprised, but yeah, that's a pretty good one. Designers know that Adobe is buying Figma. Yeah, that's another classic. And actually this is something that is happening, but this time people are not just kind of looking towards Sketch, they're looking towards Penpot, Lunacy, and other different products just to kind of have an alternative, and I think it's good. Yeah, that's kind of exactly how it's gonna look like, because even if they'll keep Figma separate, they're gonna kind of make it look like part of the family at some point, probably a year or a year and a half down the road. And I'm really happy that I don't have to see those loading screens anymore. Like, seriously. Designers coming back to Sketch after Figma sellout. How is my favorite design hub doing? Yeah, that's classic office reference, and yeah, there's actually, it's pretty funny because a lot of people didn't really know how much Sketch has updated and improved over the years, and they're coming back and they're seeing real-time collaboration and they're like, oh wow, they have that. So yeah, well, I never left. Oh, the pricing models, the starter plan with 99 per month and then professional with 299 per month. Obviously that's not gonna be the real price, but at the same time this is a classic Adobe pricing model with like even the basic one being paid and then the main one being ridiculously expensive for what it does. And then a version with the pricing with just one plan that's $9.99 per month. And yeah, well, that's not gonna happen obviously, but it is still pretty funny. It's like a very Adobe thing to do. This is probably my favorite one. You've reached your rectangle limit, upgrade to Pro. And especially since I say that, you know, design is moving rectangles around, and if you had a limit on those rectangles, you'd have to be very specific in what you're designing. So yeah, that's probably like the best possible way to limit the users and get more money out of them, because they can, you know, use just one page or one file or whatever. But if you limit the rectangles, we're fucked. Oh, another classic, cracked version of Adobe Figma CC. Yeah, I'm not sure it's gonna work that way this time, even though I remember those days, like at the very beginning of my career when people were actually looking for those. But then I finally saved up and spent half my salary on the box version of Photoshop and Flash, and I was actually pretty proud of owning them, so yeah, we'll see. Figma on a DVD, yeah, that's not gonna happen, but still, yes, I remember those days. I remember putting in a DVD and then entering a super long serial code number, and yeah, that was like the life of a designer back then. That's a classic of like how tweets aged badly. Our goal is to be Figma, not Adobe. And then a year later, well, this happened, so yeah, it's easy to say stuff like that. And another classic office reference, Adobe with Figma and XD looking sad in the background. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. XD is gonna be killed off. And that is not really a meme, but I find it incredibly funny, because if you criticize Figma, that can happen to you as well. Because you only have to, you know, obey them and just say nice things about them. And if you say anything critical, even if you use the product and even if you push the product onto more designers by recommending it to them, with some caveats, and if you mention those caveats, yeah, you get blocked, so cheers. And the classic burning house and Adobe and Figma there. Well, this one is actually like funny on a couple of levels because we're not really sure whose house is burning more. Adobe stock has dropped quite a bit and they've been blamed for not innovating for a while now, so maybe there's like, you know, fire under both of them, and maybe that's the whole thing. Figma, Adobe, and Sketch, and then Adobe XD there at the bottom. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening in a way, but Sketch is not really drowning, because the thing is that some professional companies don't use Figma for a couple of reasons I talked about in other videos, so basically they use Sketch, companies like Apple for example, and they have a lot of designers, so the thing is, while Figma had a problem with being profitable, Sketch has been profitable from the beginning, so they didn't have to, you know, sell themselves to anybody. That's funny. I don't know what Frame.io is, but yeah, Figma and then probably Canva as well. But I would place Macromedia there at the beginning too, because that was like a really sad story. And yeah, that's kind of like what Adobe does. Adobe XD. Yeah, they did kind of celebrate a little bit, and I remember being really like confused by seeing people actually use Adobe XD in like 2016 or something like that, when it had like barely any features, but it was pushed onto them by their corporations, and Adobe and eating a lot of Figma burgers. Yeah, we'll see. They might have indigestion after that, especially since their stock is falling. So we don't really know what's gonna happen exactly, but yeah, it kind of feels like Adobe is gobbling up a lot of products over the years. To be honest, my favorite one was definitely the one with the limit of the rectangles in Figma, or in Adobe Figma, because I think this is like a classic Adobe move, and also this is like over the top to the point of being ridiculous and scary at the same time. Here we are, your favorite tool is going to be a part of the Adobe family, and you can just sit and wait, and I can only say that I kind of predicted it a year ago, saying that their investors are going to be pushing for something in September. Those additional changes coming in every few months, because it's been like April 2021, now February 2022. What will happen in September 2022? So maybe I should get a lottery ticket, but for now, let's just get rid of the last one. Which Figma meme is your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and have a beautiful day.